You bought a cargo e-bike because you wanted to stop driving your kids to school in a 2-ton machine and start arriving like someone who figured it out. You spent weeks in forums, watched the reviews, compared the specs, and then you handed over $3, $4, maybe $5,000 to a brand that had already decided how this story ends. Not with you riding that bike for a decade, with you filing a warranty claim you're going to lose, waiting 3 weeks for a proprietary part, and eventually buying another bike from the same ecosystem that stranded you. 5 brands are counting on your optimism. 3 are not. Number 8, Electric Expedition. A purpose-built cargo chassis engineered for heavy hauling and sold to parents at accessible family hauler prices. Electric built real goodwill in the entry-level commuter space, and the XP Cargo borrows every ounce of that equity while asking it to do a completely different job. The bike typically retails somewhere between $1,400 and $2,000, which is the first number that should make you pause, because genuine family cargo infrastructure does not exist at that price point. The frame is an extended aluminum long-tail design, but it relies on lightweight structural engineering optimized for budget manufacturing, not for the massive, long-term torture test of child seats, a week of groceries, and daily commercial-grade cycle fatigue. The motor is a 500-watt nominal hub drive with no meaningful thermal management, which means on a loaded climb, you are not getting the torque you paid for, you are getting a heat-limited taper at exactly the moment you need the most power. Owner communities flag the Expedition consistently as a starter bike that families outgrow or break within 12 to 18 months of real daily use. When the hub motor assembly fails, the replacement cost plus labor routinely approaches 40 to 60% of the original purchase price. At $1,400, it feels like an accessible entry point. At month 14, with a denied warranty claim and a repair quote that makes replacement look rational, it is an expensive lesson about what a cargo bike actually requires. The next brand does not have the budget excuse. Number 7, Rad Power Bikes Radwagon. The best-selling cargo e-bike in North America has built its market dominance on a direct-to-consumer model that leaves owners entirely alone the moment anything goes wrong. Rad Power is the volume leader in this category, hundreds of thousands of units sold, influencer saturation across every platform parents use to make this decision. That scale is the story, because scale is precisely what their service infrastructure has never caught up to. The Radwagon typically retails between $1,800 and $2,400. The components are proprietary throughout: the display, the controller, the motor, the battery connector system. When something fails, the resolution path runs through Rad's own logistics, not through a local dealer who can order a part and install it this week. The battery, when it eventually degrades, is a proprietary pack carrying hazmat shipping restrictions that complicate the replacement process for most owners. Rad has restructured its warranty and support operations multiple times following periods of rapid growth, which is a polite way of saying the service model has never been built to match the sales volume. Multiple independent bike shops have publicly declined Rad service work because the parts sourcing friction makes customer turnaround times unmanageable. You are not buying a bike with a dealer network. You are buying a bike with an email address. Here is where it gets cynical. The direct-to-consumer pitch is framed as saving you money by cutting out the middleman, but the middleman is the person who would have fixed your bike in 4 days. You are paying for his absence every time you are out of service for 3 weeks waiting on a proprietary controller. The next brand wraps the same problem in a more expensive box. Number 6, Bunch Bikes. A beloved boutique brand whose safety record and company stability raise questions that parents carrying children in a front-mounted cargo box cannot afford to ignore. Bunch positioned itself as the premium American-designed family cargo bike, front-loader style, visible kids in the bucket, a family business building, bikes for families. The story is genuinely appealing. The bikes typically range from $6,500 to $7,500, depending on configuration. Bunch issued a voluntary safety notice affecting cargo box mounting components on a portion of its fleet. On a front loader where the cargo box is where your children sit, a mounting system concern is not a paperwork inconvenience. It is the kind of notice you read twice. Beyond the specific safety issue, the deeper problem is structural. Bunch operates with the financial fragility common to small, direct-to-consumer hardware startups, and front-loader cargo bikes require frame-specific components that cannot be substituted with aftermarket parts when a manufacturer goes quiet. Independent repair shops in the cargo bike community have documented anxiety about Bunch's long-term parts availability. You are buying a $7,000 bike on the assumption that a boutique startup will be solvent, parts stocked, and support capable in year 4. That assumption is doing a lot of work. The community around Bunch bikes is real and genuinely passionate. The financial architecture underneath it is not built to the same standard as the enthusiasm. The next brand is a corporate giant that should know better, which makes what it chose to do considerably harder to excuse. Drop a comment right now. What cargo bike are you riding or seriously considering? Because a meaningful number of you are about to tell me you already own one of these first 5, and I want to hear exactly what happened the first time something broke. Tell me anyway. Let's continue. Number 5, Trek Fetch. A trusted cycling pedigree attached to a cargo platform that independent reviewers consistently find underwhelming for the price, with Trek's name doing work its cargo bike engineering has not earned. Trek has decades of credibility in performance road and mountain cycling, and the Fetch was the brand's entry into the family cargo segment. When a name that strong enters a category, parents extend trust automatically. That extension is the product's primary value proposition, and the Fetch leans on it hard. The bike typically retails between $3,500 and $4,500. The motor options are genuinely capable mid-drive systems, and that is where the honest compliments end. The frame geometry and cargo capacity have drawn consistent criticism relative to purpose-built cargo platforms at equivalent price points. Following corporate portfolio pivots, the Fetch reads like a product designed by a traditional cycling giant checking a market box rather than by engineers who spent time studying how families actually load and ride cargo bikes across 5 years of daily use. Cargo bike community comparisons place the Fetch consistently below purpose-built competitors at the same price tier. You are paying for Trek's massive brand heritage, which has no bearing whatsoever on whether the rear deck can carry 2 children and a week of groceries reliably for the next decade. You are not buying a cargo bike specialist's best answer. You are buying a road brand's first attempt at your money. Those 5 brands are counting on the fact that most parents buy on price, aesthetics, and influencer discount codes. The next 3 were built by people who assumed you would actually use the bike every single day. Number 3, Urban Aero Family. The Dutch-engineered front loader that professional cargo bike advocates and independent mechanics consistently recommend as the benchmark for durability in family cargo use. Urban Aero comes out of the Netherlands, which is to cargo bikes what Germany is to engineering appliances, a country where the product is used seriously, daily, by adults who depend on it for primary transportation and have zero patience for failure. The family model has been refined inside exactly that use environment. The bike typically retails somewhere between $5,500 and $7,000 depending on motor configuration. It ships with Bosch mid-drive systems and that matters enormously because Bosch is not a private label motor. It is a commercial-grade drivetrain with its own 10-year spare parts commitment and an independent dealer service infrastructure operating across North America and Europe. No proprietary lockout, no single supplier battery dependency, just access to any Bosch-certified dealer on the continent. The mid-drive placement distributes weight centrally rather than at the rear axle, manages heat under sustained loaded climbing in a way that hub motors at equivalent wattage cannot match, and transfers motor stress to the bottom bracket rather than the wheel hub. Rental fleets and cargo bike share programs, which are the harshest real-world durability tests available, run Urban Aero at scale precisely because the total cost of ownership math holds up over years of continuous use. It costs more on day one than anything on the first half of this list. Over 5 years of daily family use, it is routinely the cheaper bike. The next brand proves you can get this engineering right without the front loader footprint. Number 2, Tern GSD. The compact longtail that folds like a commuter, loads like a cargo truck, and is supported by a dealer and parts infrastructure that treats repairability as a design principle rather than a post-sale afterthought. Tern is a Taiwanese-American brand with genuine engineering investment behind it, not a product assembled to a price point with a Western label applied at the end. The GSD was designed specifically for the cargo use case with input from communities in car-free cities where the bike is not a lifestyle accessory but a daily dependency. It typically retails between $4,500 and $6,000 depending on configuration. Like Urban Aero, it runs Bosch mid-drive systems, which means the same independent service infrastructure, the same parts availability commitment, the same freedom from manufacturer-specific diagnostic lock-in. The rear deck is rated to a total system weight that accommodates 2 children and meaningful cargo simultaneously. The battery is tool-free removable for indoor charging, which is both a practical advantage for apartment dwellers and a longevity feature, because lithium cells charged consistently at moderate temperature outlast cells cycled in cold storage or outdoor conditions. Professional mechanics cite Tern's parts availability and service documentation as among the strongest in the category, the direct opposite of the proprietary parts trap that defines the worst entries on this list. Independent cargo bike comparisons name the GSD consistently as the recommendation for families who need full cargo capacity inside a compact urban footprint. No proprietary lockout, no single supplier dependency, no chassis designed for a different use case entirely. The GSD solves the cargo problem without requiring a second garage to store the solution. Number 1, Reese and Miller Paxter and Load. The German-engineered cargo bikes that commercial delivery fleets and daily dependent families buy when they need the machine to work without reservation every single day for a decade. Reese and Muller operates out of Germany, and the engineering philosophy reflects that origin without apology. The Paxter and Load lines are not consumer products that happen to carry cargo. They are cargo vehicles that happen to be bikes. They typically retail between $6,500 and $10,000 or more depending on configuration and suspension specification, and that number is the one that stops most parents in the showroom, which is the one moment the industry is designed to make you focus on. The full suspension architecture on flagship models is not a comfort feature. It is a frame longevity feature. Every weld fatigue failure, every headset bearing collapse, every bottom bracket stress fracture on a cargo bike loaded with children over urban roads is caused by the same mechanism. Unsuspended impact load transferred directly into the frame over thousands of cycles. Reese and Muller absorbed that engineering problem into the suspension system, and the result is documented in the harshest test environment available. European postal and commercial delivery fleets where the expectation is 5 to 8 years of daily loaded use before major overhaul. That is not a marketing claim. It is a fleet procurement decision made by logistics operators calculating cost per delivery mile. Independent long-term ownership data from European cargo bike communities, where families use these bikes as primary vehicles, consistently documents 7 to 10-year lifespans under daily use. No invented sources, no manufactured confidence. The sticker price will stop most parents. The total cost of ownership calculation, 1 bike, 1 decade, 1 repair interval, 0 replacement purchases, should stop far fewer of them than it does. The cargo e-bike market sold parents a vision of freedom and buried the exit clause in the warranty fine print. The brands on the first half of this list are not run by villains. They are making rational decisions inside a system that rewards replacement over repairability. But you are the one with children on that bike, and you are the one who pays when the motor cuts out mid-intersection because the hub overheated on a loaded climb. The difference between a bike that lasts and one that doesn't is invisible at the point of sale and brutally obvious at month 14. Buy for the 5th year, not the first week. Tell me in the comments which brand you bought, which one you wish you'd bought, and whether your warranty department has ever used the word overloading against you. If this video saved you from a costly mistake or helped you make the case for the right investment, subscribe, because the next one goes deeper into the motor and battery failures nobody in this industry wants to talk about. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.